wherever you are this evening, you are welcome to the Financial Literacy and Public Enlightenment Radio Series, FLP for short, brought to you by the Bankers Committee. That's right, we're back like we never left with the latest and most profitable business and financial advice tailor made for you. From government policies to MSME support, funding, business ideas, we essentially help you get answers to those burning questions, business questions and financial questions on your mind, and so much more. Our desire is to make you better for yourself, for the economy, for our nation at large. It's our 13th episode in this series. That's right. Go ahead. You can clap. And in case you missed out on all the previous episodes, not to worry, there's a simple way you can catch up on those great conversations. I'll tell you soon enough, don't worry. But last week was a blast, by the way. I personally learned so much about the African Continental Free Trade Area. AFTA for short. We got so much calls. We got, lots of people asking for help, for answers. And I'm glad we were able to resolve those burning issues. And I do hope that if you were part of last week's episode, you're making the most of all those pointers on how to tap into the larger African market. Over 1 billion people to do your business, sell your goods, and offer your services for some good money. Yeah, for some good ego, for some good cash. Again, if you missed out on that episode, I'll show you the way, okay? Don't worry. But you know what? You don't want to miss what we have for you today, right? You know how technology, they say, is meant to help us make our lives easier. Well, today's conversation is a proof of that. It is something you may have been missing out on in this past months in conducting your business transactions, but it's something that can actually help you pay and even make money faster. We call it the NQR code. I'll take that again. The NQR code. So yeah, get comfortable, all right? You may be hearing this for the first time. Not to worry. We'll break it down for you. Just get comfortable. Let's get our business minds on as we seek to understand this NQR code and how it can help improve your businesses in Nigeria at large. But just before we get into the conversation this evening, as usual, if you want to get a more immersive experience, or maybe you want to invite someone to join us on this show, someone you think will need this conversation, will need the ideas we'll be sharing to boost their business. Well, we're actually live on Zoom right now. We're on Zoom, we're on YouTube, and you can send us a message or call us. How about social media? We're there as well. As I always say, we're literally everywhere you can find us. So let me break it down for you. If you want to send us a message on the show this evening, if you've got a question, a comment, whatever it is, the number to send your message to is 0909 861 5403. I'll take that again, and I'll be slow this time around, okay? If you want to call us, I'll tell you the number to call us. But if you want to message us, the number to message us on is 0909 861 5403. All right? If you put that down, let me tell you the number you can call us on. Yeah, we're available on call as well. If you want to ask those questions in your voice, in your words, call us up today on 0901 577 9472. Again, the number to call us on the FLP show is 0901 577 9472. But if you want to join us on Zoom and other platforms we're on, there's an easy way to do that. Just head over to smegrowth.ng. That's right, SMEGROWTH.ng. You can get access to the Zoom link and all of the details essentially. I see the calls are coming in already. Don't worry, we'll open the phone lines in a bit. But let's even start the conversation, right? As usual, we have the brilliant minds courtesy of the Bankers Committee, and they have so much experience in the sector, in the field, and they'll be giving us all that experience this evening. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready for this, let us start right away. I'll introduce my guests to you. Joining me right here in the Lagos studio is Mr. Kolawole Temitope. He is the Unit Head, Merchant Services, Transaction and E-Banking at Keystone Bank. It's good to have you on the program this evening.
Thank you so much, Kawade. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be sharing our experiences on NQR with the public. Thank you once again.
Absolutely. You can hear the excitement in his voice. So let me introduce my other guests. I've got 4 more brilliant minds for you. I'll start from our Abuja studio. We have Mr. Rashid Hassan, is the head e-business at Jais Bank. Good evening, Mr. Hassan. Good to see you again. We also have Mr. Olubukola Akinwumi. He's the head of payment. Good evening.
Nice to be here again.
Absolutely. Mr. Olubukola
Good evening,
Akinwumi is the
Kyle.
head of Payment Policy Office at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Also, not a first timer on the show. Mr. Akinwumi, thank you for joining us. Joining us virtually, we have an immersive angle to this conversation, Zoom, YouTube, all of that. Joining us virtually is Mr. Dele Adeyinka, is the Chief Digital Officer at Polaris Bank Limited. Good evening, Mr. Adeyinka. And last but not least,
right, good evening.
Victor.
It's a pleasure to be on the call this evening.
Good evening to you too. And last but not least, Mr. Victor Mowa is a team lead, digital and acquiring business at Fidelity Bank. Mr. Mowa, good to have you as well. All right, let's get into the conversation. Okay, so much to cover, so much to touch on. NQR code. And, I like to start as an introduction. I do not want to take you for granted that we all know what this is about. So, Mr. Akinwumi, NQR code. I mean, a lot of us know about the USSD code, right? We know about that, the star, what hash that you dial to check your account balance, to do transfers. Some of us know short codes. Some of us know barcodes and all of that. But really, what is this QR code? Mr. Akinwumi, that's for you, by the way.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. QR code. Right. It's one other payment option that the Central Bank of Nigeria thought wise that should be made available to Nigerians to give more alternatives, to make paying electronically convenient, and to also encourage small and medium enterprises to access alternative payment modes, digital payment modes. So a QR code represents a matrix of shapes of contrasting colors, usually black and white, which is used to capture payment instructions or details, which may be useful in transmitting payment data from the buyer to the seller or either way, and to also ensure that processing of such transactions are done electronically and in good time. So the like you said, people was very used to the barcode that's always attached to the product at most of the supermarkets or stores around us. Now, when you go to the teller point, the salesperson will capture that barcode and then is able to determine the price and other things. And then usually what you see is that Naira is exchanged, or you present your card and you pay through the POS. Well, in terms of QR code, you only need to have the image, the QR code presented or pasted at the merchant store, which the customer can simply use by capturing with his phone, usually a scanner on the phone, and payments can be done seamlessly. So what the QR code is meant to do for us within the Nigerian payment space is to give an alternative to our merchants, especially the small and medium enterprise. And another thing that it does is that beyond the physical way of paying, you'll see people either through their social media handles, they can exchange information for making payments, even all over the social media through the QR code. So it's an extra option that the central bank, along with the bankers committee, has brought on the table to encourage electronic payment, digital payments for all Nigerians. It shouldn't be just for those who can afford maybe to have a POS at their deck, at the merchant, at the store, but also for those who are still coming up and who can simply get transactions done even on their social media.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akinwumi, for that insight. And like I mean, everybody to chip in at this point, really, because there's so much to know about this. I'm already thinking about the possibilities. But Mr. Hassan, just right next to Mr. Kilmi in our Abuja studio, really, I know that digital or technology is something that is quite tricky with different people. Okay, some embrace it wholeheartedly, some others are a bit cautious, like, what is this new one they have brought again? But let's backtrack a bit. Maybe this can help people further understand the thinking behind this idea. What exactly inspired this new mode of transaction, the NQR code?
Okay. Oh, thank you very much, Coyote. Looking at NQR, holistically, is actually an alternative means of payment, that was just introduced into the market to complement other digital payment solutions that are there. And one of the features of or characteristics of NQR is the fact that it's actually a low-fee transaction. One of the benefits is actually a low-fee transaction solution, instantaneous payment. You don't have to wait as a merchant the next day to actually receive payment. As the transactions are being done or as the transactions are consummated, you are receiving your payment instantaneously. So that's one of the advantages. And if you look at technology generally, when something is new, people get to, I don't want to use the word, people tend to look at it, people tend to take time to actually adopt any new technology because they want to see, okay, what are the pros, what are the cons before I start using such a technology. But by the time they get used to it, they will now be able to look at, okay, fine, instead of me using a POS, I think for me, I can definitely use NQR to make payments with just simple step of just scanning the code, putting the amount, if it's a static QR code, and putting the pin to consummate the transaction. Just simple step in doing it.
Okay.
And it also promotes financial inclusion as well, because it's actually simple to use compared to any other means of technology. And when it was first introduced, I guess somewhere back in Japan in 1994, the basic was, okay, fine. They just wanted to use it to monitor manufacturing system, monitoring, just for them to monitor, track their manufacturing of vehicles. I guess Toyota there, but the NQR in Nigeria today, is actually based on accounts. It's actually linked to an account. So as you're scanning any code, your account is being debited for such transaction, and the merchant is being paid instantaneously. So it's a new technology that's actually safe, secure, flexible, and simple to use.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hassan. I'm glad you took us all the way back to where it started from. So a lot of people driving their cars today and using Denso spare parts and all of that, you would know that that's actually where the QR started. By the way, the N with the QR is a Nigerian, essentially. So this is our own version. Thank you very much, Mr. Hassan. Let me come to our studio because now my brain is working overdrive. I'm thinking, wait a minute. So if I want to buy Bolly, can I pay with it with the QR code or the NQR code? If I want to maybe pay for my boss, maybe I'm in downfall, can I use the NQR code? So, Mr. Kolawole, what are the kinds of transactions I can actually engage in as a consumer with the NQR code? What can I pay for using the NQR code?
All right, thank you very much, Kaudi. So one of the things that NQR does to promote is financial inclusion. So when you look at the need, the essence of financial inclusion is to bring people out of financial exclusion into being included in, so there's a whole lot of space. So basically, this is for the middle classes, for the people down the pyramid as well that can do different type of transactions. SME businesses, you're an hairdresser, you're a barber, you're a organizer. You can use QR. The essence is we are trying to promote not just financial literacy, but of course the inclusiveness in transacting for everybody. Notably is the fact that people have seen QR most especially as P2B, I mean, person to business. However, the most important factor for me on NQR is P2P, person to person. That is one of the ways we're using to drive the initiative of NQR, because today people want to be able, I mean, the NQR, the barcode itself, it's just a code that is embodied all your account information, your email, your account number, and all of that. So very soon it's going to be out of fashion for you to be exchanging account numbers. All you need to do is to share your QR code, and people can pay. I can send money to you, you can send money to me. I can pay for goods and services, whatever shop, whatever store, even if it's the corner store in my street, if it's a talk shop around my estate, we can do all sort of exchange using the QR code. So the whole essence of QR code is to promote that inclusiveness that we need to drive financial inclusion in our country, most especially just ensuring that too much of cash is taken away from the society. We mop up cash. These are one of the ways we want to mop up cash and take too much of physical cash away from the country, and help people to help them understand that other alternatives that which you can make payment apart from exchange of cash. And I was saying to somebody that one of the ways to drive it is this Gen Zs that will be driving it. I'm bold to say that because the Gen Zs wants to do everything on your phone.
What Gen Z? Who is a Gen Z? What is Gen Z?
All right, I mean, people within the age of 15, say 35, 40.
Okay, the young people.
The young people,
Tech
exactly. They are real tech savvy. These are the guys that are going to be driving essentially QR code for you. We want to have our phones, we want to have our Bible, our Quran on our phone, we want to be able to read our novels, we want to be able to read our textbook, we want to be able to do our shopping, we want to be able to do everything online. They don't actually want to do the bank. They want the bank to come to them, and they want to have the bank in their hand. I mean, these are the people that are just going to be promoting it online, on social media, on every platform.
Yeah.
So a QR code is come to stay. Though it may be slow right now, but I'm sure with time, just like Azan did mention, that we are going to gain more traction.
Absolutely. Especially when you think about it, how it makes life easier. I'm still going to be honest with you. I'm thinking about just how I enter a bus, right, in Lagos or wherever part of the country, and I want to pay. And they always tell you no change. And it's always painful when they either join you together or they say, you know what, we can't give you your change. But if the NQR code is in the bus, I can just scan it and then I pay for it, right?
Sure. It has to be structured. I mean, right now in our society, you just don't enter the regular Danfo buses and expect to pay with QR. I mean, the conductor is going to be asking several questions.
What's up with them also being a part of it?
Of course, we will get there. That's why I said the transport sector itself needs to be structured.
Absolutely.
For us to get to that. I mean, I have to be able to buy my ticket. I don't have to pay cash.
Yeah.
And the boss, I have to be able to buy it. And the person of having to buy my ticket, I can actually use QR code. So today, we have onboarded so many e-hailing cab services that we have pitched to and that have come on it. So we have so many of them that were onboarded already. We've trained on how to use this QR code and all of that. So we will get there, but it's a step-by-step process. The banks are doing their bit, Leaps is doing, our regulators also are doing, and this is why we're having this conversation online as well, to be able to educate everyone that there's a very good new method of making payment online, and that is very safe and secure as well.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Temitope. I still need to touch base with Mr. Umowa and Mr. Denka. So let me go to Mr. Umowa. So we've talked about just how brilliant this idea is, how it makes life easier and all of that. And I imagine the question on the minds of our audience is, all right, thank you. I love this already. How can I get this NQR code, either as a merchant or as someone who wants to, do business, purchase things, pay for bole and all of that. So, Mr. Umowa, what's the process really to enjoying the largesse, if I can say that, in the NQR code world?
Okay, thank you so much, Kyle. Good evening, everyone, once again. So basically, the advantage of NQR code is the fact that the provider, which is NIPS, want me to do video.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
okay.
NIPS. You know,
You can
yeah,
go
it's
on.
a subsidiary. Yeah, it's a subsidiary of CBN. And the good thing about NIPS is the fact that they are connected to all the banks in Nigeria. So in terms of implementation, it's very seamless. Unlike a local
I'm
vendor.
sorry, Mr. Moa, just a moment. You said NIBS. I've heard Mr. Kolaole say NIBS. Everybody has been saying NIBS. Please, what is this NIBS?
Nigerian Interbank Settlement System.
Oh, fantastic. Just for the audience out there wondering, what does NIBS mean? What does NIBS do? Thank you very much for clearing that.
Okay. So like I said, so NIBS is connected to all the banks in Nigeria. So it's actually easy or very easy for you to get this implemented. So for a merchant or any business owner, for you to get started, you just have to visit your bank. Once you visit your bank, you know, there should be some, as regards onboarding, there should be some kind of forms that you need to complete. Once that form is implemented, send it back to your bank and they will profile you. Once your profile is sent to your email, you know, for you to retrieve the credentials and all of that. And the QR is either sent to you via maybe a decal display, I mean some kind of portrait that's showing the QR code, or it can be sent to you via WhatsApp or any of the handles for customers to scan and pay. In addition to what other of my colleagues rightly said, NQR is available for both in-store and those with online presence, meaning that maybe for an airline, you want to buy a ticket and on checkout, rather than paying with other payments option, the likes of, let's say, card or USSD, or let's even say a virtual account. So if an NQR will be displayed. So as a user, you just have to go into your bank app. If you're a Bank customer or you're a GT Bank customer, you're a Keystone customer. So you just get into your app and to access the QR code, then you now go ahead and scan and pay. So that's basically it.
Basically, thank you very much, Mr. Moa. I see it's a busy day there for you as well. You know, the industry is always busy, never sleeps. Let me go to Mr. Deyinka now. So I don't know if there's any limits. So how much I can pay or how much I can get using the NQR code and as a user as well, because I mean, I have my phone. All I basically use my phone for is, I don't know, WhatsApp, text messages and all that. I never knew I could use it for payment. So Mr. Deyinka, first, as a user, if I want to purchase anything and I see that there's an NQR option, what do I do? Is there a limit to how much I can pay? Maybe a upper limit or lower limit? Can you walk us through?
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Kikiolu Kaide, for that question and for having me on the program. NQR code will be displayed in those different merchant locations, or if it's a person-to-person transfer, the QR code will also be shown to the person you need to get that funds from. As per the question about how much of limits, limits are defined by different participating banks, but generally QR code payments are for low value transactions. So usually for amounts in our own environment, maybe amounts lower between the range of 5,000 and below. But banks are generally allowed to define on how much they will want to allow or permit for those transactions to be consummated. There is no max, there is no cap as to how much maximum cannot or cannot be consummated with those transactions using NQR code. But each bank, CBN and the NIPS, they made it flexible for banks to determine based on their risk acceptance criteria, determine on how much they can allow using NQR code to use for to consummate transactions.
So these things are flexible, essentially.
Very, very flexible.
Okay, great one. So we have established that there is no barrier. Whatever business you're into, this covers you. It makes life easier. It makes payment faster. You don't have to look for change.
I think that one is a big one for me because I can't count how many people I've left change with, and it's always painful. So essentially, this technology, the NQR code, will make life easier, revolutionize business. If you're listening to us this evening, either you're a user, a potential user, you want to be a merchant, you want to do person to person or person to business, you can call us up with questions you have on your mind about the NQR code. Pick up your phone right now. Call us on 0901 577 9472. I'll take that again. 0901. Have you written that down? 0901 577 9472. Or you can just text us 0909 861 5403. Let's continue the conversation, ladies and gentlemen. We're still discussing the NQR code on the Financial Literacy and Public Enlightenment radio series brought to you by the Bankers Committee. I'll take this call in a moment, but let me quickly ask you, Mr. Kiomi. So with technology, comes the questions around, is it safe? Hacking? What about fraud? Is all this code, you people have come again. I imagine my aunt sounding like, what is this one again? So, Mr. Kiomi, what is the level of security using this NQR code system? Can it be trusted?
Thank you very much, Aldi. Definitely, the Central Bank of Nigeria issued a regulatory framework for the QR code payments in Nigeria. One of the objectives of the central bank in issuing that framework is to define the minimum risk management requirements expected of stakeholders within the industry. If I may, let me quickly mention now before I can proceed with my response to the question you raised. The NIPS is a shared payments infrastructure owned by all banks in the Nigerian banking space. And NIPS is, as a payment terminal service aggregator, is required by the regulatory framework issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria to certify all QR code systems that the banks put in place to ensure that they are the right infrastructure secured enough to consummate such transactions. Aside that, the regulatory framework outlines such principles as the banks must observe to ensure that customers are safe. For example, if you have a QR code solution on your customer's phone, it is expected that regularly those solutions or those apps are patched. Where there is an update, the update has to be downloaded by the customer and installed for the customer to continue to use that solution or that app. That will, in essence, ensure that as any loophole is observed in the course of review of such apps, they are adequately managed up to the point of the customer, so that the customers are not defrauded of their funds.
Money.
Similarly, there's what you call the behavioral monitoring system that the banks are expected to implement to ensure that as I transact and as I continue to get comfortable with the use of QR codes, you know where I do my transactions. You can do geolocation. You know the level of transactions I consummate with a QR code. And so when you see me transacting suddenly at an amount that is perhaps 500 times my usual transaction value, or I'm transacting from a location that I've never transacted before, the banks are required to interrogate further and be sure that I am the one that is trying to make that payment. Else, they terminate and ensure that such payments will not go through. So there's pretty much a lot of thought put into ensuring the safety of customers and their funds in the usage of the QR code. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're due for a break right now. So many questions, so many calls. If you want to be a part of this, call us on 0901 577 9472. We're discussing the NQR code, how it can transform your business and make you earn faster, easier, and altogether make your business the better for it. We're back in a moment. It's still the Financial Literacy and Public Enlightenment radio series coming to you live on a network service of Radio Nigeria and brought to you by the Bankers Committee. We're back in a moment. All right, you're welcome back to the Financial Literacy and Public Enlightenment radio series brought to you by the Bankers Committee. I'm Kayode Okikulu and I'm your host. I've still got 5 brilliant minds. Today we're discussing the NQR codes. That's right. If this is your first time hearing about it, don't worry. I will explain what it is to you. If you've been with us and you want to call us on the show this evening, remember the number to call us on is 0901 577 9472. Just before I move on to Mr. Hassan, we have a caller on the line. So let's take this call and then we continue our conversation. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on the FLP. What's your name and where are you calling from? Good evening, Abubakar. How is Suleja this evening? Thank God.
The program is very educative. But you know, my problem is sometimes it's easier said than done. We actually say things for publicity sake, and when it comes to reality, it's something different. So I want to be specific now. I've been saying QR code, okay? So if I want to use it, is there an app I need to download? Or where do I carry my smartphone? How do I use it?
Fantastic point there. How do you use it? Simple and short. How do I use it? Thank you very much, Abubakar. I'm glad you're being honest. And I'll take this to Rashid Hassan. Okay, so Abubakar calling from Suleja says, you know what, let's just keep it simple. I want to use this thing. I am falling in love with it. It's sweet. I want to taste it. How do I use it?
Okay, thank you very much, Kari. Once again, like you said, it's actually sweet. it's sweet to use. What Abubakar needs to do is just to download his bank's app. Once he downloads his bank's app, you will have access to the NQR service. For all the banks in Nigeria today, they have the service on their mobile app already. So for you to enjoy the service, the only thing you need to do is just download your bank's app. On your bank's app, you'll see NQR service. From there, you can start making use of the NQR. Once you go to the NQR service, you have the option of either to receive payments in some banks or make payments as well. Receiving payment is just you scan the code. Making payment, you just have to scan the code presented to you by the merchant. Once you scan it, you put the amount, then you put your PIN to actually complete such a transaction. And that by doing that, you successfully you make your payment. For the receive payment, what it means is you are generating a code that you want to send to someone that is going to pay you. So once you click on receive payment for some bank, it generates the NQR code that you can send to the person that wants to make payment to you. Once you send it to the person will just scan the code and make payment to you and you receive the payment instantly. So it's quite simple to use. It's a straightforward process. Download your bank's app, download your bank's app, register yourself, log in, go to the NQR services there, either receive payment or make payment.
And voila, that's it. All right, thank you very much, Rashid Hassan, for that. So Abubakar, that's how to go about it. We're going to break it down further, but let's quickly take this call. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on FLP. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Well, thank you very much. My name's Gabriel.
Okay. Oh, Gabriel, it's good to have you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Warri.
Hey, Warri. That's great. All right, go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Before I say something, let me just use the opportunity to say thank you very much for the program. The man in charge of the GOI was called me on the credit and we spoke. So I think whatever that comes up after that, I agree. I will think people don't believe it, but because that's right. I think you're going to have to be
Thank you very much.
What I'm thinking for you, because I promised you that the way I spoke the other day, out of alliance, I forget. So I want to let you know that I said it not that I have any technical problem.
Yeah, it's okay. We understand.
Yeah, no, that's over. No, I want to say now is this NQ and
the NQR code.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And between it and the mobile bank app.
Fantastic point. So the difference between NQR code and the bank app, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Gabriel Ladele. Glad to hear that you got the feedback you wanted. That's why we're here. I mean, this is real time. Your help comes as you at least demand for it. So we'll get answers to that question, Mr. Gabriel Ladele. So please hold on the show. Well, so that's the question essentially. What is the difference between the NQR code and the bank app? I know this question was going to come up really. So let me defer to you, Mr. Kolaole Temitope. What is the difference really?
All right, essentially, the NQR, it's a product that typically rests on the mobile app of all the banks. So it's a product, I mean, it's part of the product that is embedded in the mobile app. However, because we are also mindful of the fact that it's not everybody that have access to smartphones. So that's why we have come up, the NIMS and the Bankers Committee have come up with the USSD version of NQR. So you can dial USSD strings to be able to access or make payment still using the QR code as well. So it's a product that essentially rests on the mobile app. All you need to do is when you launch your mobile app of any bank that you are on, when you just tap on the NQR, all you are doing is scanning to pay. So you get to a merchant location, you just scan. The next thing you do is just a 3-step thing. Launch your mobile app, click on your NQR, scan the QR code presented at merchant location, input your PIN, and transaction is done. However, you can also it could also be another way around that which you have if you're doing online payment. The QR code pops off, then you can also scan and pay. You can also have your friend's QR code, for instance. Now, you want to get some money from me. Okay. So you share your QR code for me, and so I tell you, I'm going to give you this money at the end of the month. So I store your QR code. So storing your QR code on my phone is essentially storing your account number. So all I need to do is to pick your QR code when I'm ready to do the transfer, pick it from my phone, and just scan as well from the gallery of my phone, and I'm able to.
And that's it.
And it's simple like that. So essentially, it's a product that actually rests on the mobile app of different banks. However, it carries also. Why is that so? Is that the mobile app, all the security features that the mobile app is made up of also protects the QR code.
Oh, brilliant.
Thank you.
By the way, I'm going to send you my NQR code since you asked for it, so you can store it in your gallery. But you get the point, Gabriel Adele. It's faster. So when you want to use your app, essentially, you go through processes. You log in, you type the account details. You say, what bank do you use? Okay, I use this particular bank. You search for it, and then you have to set, that whole process. But with the NQR code, you said 3 steps.
3 steps. You just scan, authenticate with your PIN, and that's all.
And that's it. So that's what it does. Makes life easier, makes payment faster. You know how life is on the go these days? Well, the NQR code is even meant to make it much faster. If you want to be a part of the show, like Gabriel Adele, like Abubakar from Suleja, the number to call is 0901 577 9472. So let's continue the conversation. I was going to ask you, Mr. Omonwa, this question really. So now we've gotten how to use this, okay, how to make life easier. But for merchants who are thinking, do I step in? Do I not? Just practically speaking now, how much of an impact would you say that the NQR code has had in terms of doing business in Nigeria?
Okay, good evening once again, Coyote. So, well, our environment is peculiar to us. So, when it comes to adoption, it's always a gradual process. And for you to migrate customers from something that they are used to something that is new, is not always easy. It's like you and I today, I'm sure you must have done 1 or 2 transfers today using NIP and all of that. You would never even thought of any other options and all of that. That's what you're used to. So for you to move from your comfort zone to a new system, it has to follow, it has to be a step-by-step process. So basically that's where we are. And you just have to continue to educate customers, to educate merchants, let them know about the importance of NQR, the benefits. Like one of us earlier mentioned that when it comes to transaction fees, I think it's the lowest compared to other payment options and all of that. Then it is an alternative payment option. So let's assume you walk into a store or a mall, and you don't have no card with you. You don't have your debit card to use on a POS. So this is an available option for you. That you can just quickly go into your app and look and make payments. So those are the things, those enablers are the things that we need to sell to businesses, to customers for easy adoption. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. By the way, the questions are on Zoom as well. For our audience on Zoom, don't worry, I didn't forget you. I'll never do that, okay? I'm your personal person. I'm seeing the questions coming in. Let me see which one we can take. By the way, you can also call us on the number 0901 577 9472. 2. Madi Saleh saying he appreciates this. Thank you very much. Madi Saleh says today's graduation day because it's 13th episode. Don't worry, we'll get you your gown. Okay, let me see. This question is from Abdurrahman Hamzat. He says, how can people in the rural areas and those who don't have smartphones use the NQR code? And we talked about financial inclusion, and I saw this question coming. So let me take this to Mr. Dele Adeyinka, really. So the question from Abdurrahman is simple. The people in the rural areas, those who don't have smartphones, what do they stand to gain, or how can they be a part of this in some way?
Thank you, Kayode, for having me. So to answer the question, what the central bank is trying to do, as well as in conjunction with NIBS and all the banks in Nigeria, is to ensure that we have multiple alternate options to make payments. Now, for those who have their bank apps, they will have several options to make payments. NIP is there. Using the card as a means of payment is also there, and then using several other options. USSD is also another option. The NQR code is another option. Now, for NQR code particularly, it requires internet access. It requires these customers to have data on their phones. But for those who are in the rural areas, we have made options for USSD available for them, where they will be able to use their bank USSD to easily make payments. So this particular one requires this set of customers to have internet access for them to be able to use, for them to be able to make payment and have those data. They also need data on their phone. So for those who might not, for whatever reason, have data, USSD, it's a very much reliable option for them to use as also another alternate option to make payments.
Fantastic. So that's a point there, Abdurrahman. It essentially opens up the space so everyone can be a part. So if you're in a rural area, if you don't have a smartphone, you have the option of a USSD code. So you can always use that for payment. And I think that answers a question from Stephanus Moses saying, what is the difference between the NQR code and the USSD code? So clearly the USSD code is for those who don't have a smartphone. So you can do the star, whatever hash to do all of those transactions. And you've got it. And for the NQR code, you just go through your bank app, take a picture, or at least scan it with your camera, and then you can make the payment with your PIN. A couple more questions from Zoom. I told my Zoom people you are my person, so I will take questions from you. By the way, you can also call us on 0701, or rather 0901 577 9472. Let me take that slowly. 0901 577 9472. Ashiwaju Fola Oshibo says, what is the difference between NQR and the usual internet banking where you do transfers via your phone? I think we spoke to that earlier.
We did.
Basically, it actually, you know what, just in case you didn't catch that, let me allow our guests to reiterate. Mr. Kola, you took that question earlier.
Yes, I did. Yeah. I took that. So basically, with your NQR code, all you need to do is when you launch your mobile app, you are going to tap on the NQR, then you're going to scan the QR code presented to you at the touch point where you're trying to make payment, essentially, and you just finish the payment after, you just finish the transaction with your PIN. Essentially, internet banking, you just have to log on the internet banking, you have to input the account number, you have to search for the bank, you have to go all through this process before you conclude such payment. However, for QR code, because of its interoperability, you do not need to do all that. All you need to do is to just scan the QR code that's presented to you at the merchant location, or if it's P2P that you have on your phone, to just scan. And once you scan, the only thing you need to do, once you scan, you are going to have the merchant name or the person's name that you are trying to make payment to, just to authenticate.
The code is unique to everybody.
Exactly, it's unique. So you as Coyote, you can have yours.
Yeah.
So anytime I try to make payment to you, I scan your QR code just for me to be sure that I'm actually paying to Coyote. Your name just pops up. I say, oh, are you paying to Coyote? I said, yes, okay, I'm paying to Coyote. All I need to do afterwards is just insert my PIN and voila, it's done. Yeah. So it's as simple as that.
Thank you very much. This question, I think it's been answered as well. Is it, it is NQR, okay? I see someone asking, is it MPR or NQR? It is NQR.
Nigerian Quick Response.
So you heard that. Nigerian Quick Response Code. So the QR means quick response. That's the point. It's fast. You get what you want to do quick. And the question says, a person without Android phone can use it. Well, that has been answered as well. You have the USSD option to use if you don't have an Android phone. Essentially makes everyone have different options to transact business. We're winding down very soon, but don't worry, we'll take as much questions as we can. 0901 577 9472 is the number to call. Olubukola Ajayi is asking, good evening, how do I get the recordings of all the episodes? Don't worry, I'll tell you just before I go, okay? Just stick with us, all right? We have so much content for you from our previous episodes. Emeka, this question is about getting access to finance for SMEs via Zoom. Now, this is something we have dealt with in times past, approaching banks, approaching even, government agencies that provide funding. So I think you can refer to some of those episodes. I'll tell you how to get access to them so you can know how to craft your business, your idea in such a way that you can get access to finance. Don't forget, the finance is there for you. Yes, there are challenges, but tell us about those challenges so we can take them to the right authorities and get answers for you. So Emeka, I'll tell you where to get previous episodes on getting access or access to finance rather for your business. Abdurrahman Hamzat is asking what it looks like, what the NQR code looks like. So this is what you do. Head over to our website, okay, in a few moments from now. We're going to upload what it looks like, the NQR code. In fact, just go there right now, smegrowth.ng, and you see what it looks like, okay? It's been described, but I get it. You want to see what it looks like. And this one from Ezekiel Enyi via Zoom saying, can this be related to the E-naira wallet? I actually saw this question coming because, we've talked about E-naira in previous times. So let me take this to Rashid Hassan. So the question from Ezekiel Enyi saying, can this be related to the E-naira wallet? How does it relate? Is there a link? Isn't there a link? What have you? Can you take that on, Rashid?
Well, okay, thank you very much, Kadi. For E-naira, E-naira is actually our own central bank digital currency. E-naira actually speaks more to the currency. For E-naira wallet to also have the same feature, as the NQR, some of the features on E-naira to has that feature. However, for the NQR is actually account-based. NQR is linked directly, to your account. E-naira as a wallet is a wallet based, whereas the NQR is directly linked to your account. So if you are doing transaction using NQR, you're transacting directly from your account. But if you are doing transaction on the E-naira wallet, like the name suggests, wallet, that means you are transacting from your wallet, but not directly from your bank account. So that's the difference. One is wallet based. The other is account based. The E-naira wallet is wallet based. The NQR is actually account based because the NQR, the code is actually tied directly, to your account.
Right. Thank you very much. And I hope we get the point here. Essentially,
if I can jump into this, the regulatory
framework, the bankers commit kill me.
Yeah, this is like, I'm trying to jump onto that question because it's very essential. There are different implementations of QR codes that the regulatory framework allows, including card-based, wallet-based, account-based, and token-based. Now, in the E-naira implementation, there is also the opportunity of using QR code within the E-naira. But as rightly put by Mr. Azan, yes, the E-naira implementation is wallet-based, whereas what you see mostly now is account-based, and you also have some card-based version. This is all about the flexibility of the QR code. And also to stress the point about inclusion, because that's very important for the Central Bank of Nigeria. I think it was Mr. Estefanos that earlier asked, how will this affect the guy in the village? I'll paint a quick scenario. There is a store where people buy things from the village. Most of us get back to our villages occasionally. We get to patronize those stores to help our people out. And then we see that there is a decal there, a decal of QR code. You pick it right from there. Next time when you need to provide some essentials to home, you simply know that you have the QR code of the store, of the supermarket right around the village. And you're able to, make payments through the decal that you have captured earlier. And our folks can easily walk up and say, okay, payment has been made for me to take these groceries, and you can go away with it. Secondly, it will also facilitate agent, couple it with what we had talked about agent banking. They become agents to the people at home. You could do transfers to them. And again, coming back to the SME issue, such stores, supermarkets, can then see transactions that can be captured by their banks. And the banks can understand the volume of transactions they do and can therefore, with that data, extend finance, loans, or credits to them. Thank you.
Right. So 2 minutes and we're winding down. Okay. I still have 2 bus stops, okay, before we go. Mr. Olubukola Akime, I have something for you before we go. But let me ask Mr. Victor Omawa and Mr. Dele Adenka this question. Hassan Usman is asking again that as a business owner, how can I have the NQR code for my business? That's the Nigeria Quick Response Code. As a business owner, how can I get it for my business? Mr. Omawa, quickly.
Okay, so you just have to visit her bank and request to be profiled for NQR. So the bank would, definitely must carry the background check to be sure that the customer is KYC compliance. When I say KYC, I mean know your customer. So once those checks are in place and all of that, the customer is profiled. Exactly something that can be done within 1 hour or 40-something minutes. Profiled, and an email is sent to the customer to retrieve their credentials. And once that is done, you're good to go.
All right. So finally, Mr. Denka, if you could tell a business owner, someone who wants to do business, just one reason why they need to hop on the NQR code, what would it be?
Excellent. The business owner will receive value immediately. This is a big advantage compared to other means of payment where it takes the next day before they get value. So, but with NQR code, they get value immediately. The merchant get value immediately. And then the notification can also be profiled in such a way that it goes to multiple people, multiple attendants at the front desk, where they can get those notifications without necessarily seeing the balance of the business. So if I walk in to make payments, I can the merchant can easily get notification, and then they get value immediately. Thank you.
We have to run now. Mr. Akiomi Olubukola, the question I was going to ask you, let me just answer it. For people who have issues to resolve, they can always go to NIBS, am I right, to get those issues resolved?
The first place to go is your bank.
The bank, right?
Yes, lodge a complaint.
So you go to your bank rather.
And if the bank fails to do it within the stipulated period, you can always escalate to the Central Bank, the Consumer Protection Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria via cpd@cbn.gov.ng.
Okay. And that's why we have you on the show, to answer those questions. We have to run. Thank you so much. If you want to catch up on previous episodes, go to smegrowth.ng. That's SMEGROWTH We've come to the end of today's episode. On behalf of the production team here in Lagos, Maria Uhoma, the Assistant Director of Programs, engineers Gerald Anuforonimi, Daniel Kuye, the studio managers Idowu Isebio, Jumoke Bigbeson, and specially thanks to Director FRC and Lagos Operations, Mrs. Bolanle Woyemi, for her support all the way making this production from Lagos possible, and to the Abuja team as well. Thank you so much. To my guests, I really appreciate you. All right. And to you listening out there, make sure you use all of this information for good and keep making good money. Goodbye. God bless. I'm Kayode Okikiolu.